running, I'm losing my grip. Storage costs rising, they'll never let me skip. Refunds I'm eating, returns pile up too. Oh, Amazon, what else will you do? I look at my dashboard, my profits erased. My margins are gone, it's a slap in the face. Prime Day's a promise, but it's such a race. How much will I make if I'm replaced? It's a cruel, cruel number. Fees keep climbing, profits torn asunder. Oh, it's cruel, the sellers wonder how to survive when the margins go under. It's a cruel, cruel number. Every month it's something new to plunder. Oh, it's cruel, it's no wonder we're stuck in this game, the algorithm's thunder.
Yo, Amazon's back, and they got a new scheme. Reimbursement slashed, it's every seller's dream. They're digging deep, taking more from the pot. Let's break it all down, expose what they got. March 25, it's a policy drop. They say manufacturing costs, but we know it's a flop. Give us your cogs, the demand and the price. But if you don't, they'll estimate nice. Nice for them, not for you. Watch a payout shrink. That comprehensive evil is a corporate wing. Lost in the warehouse, damaged on the floor. Now they pay you pennies, not a cent more. Fees on the rise, profits on the run. They don't lift a finger, but they pocket the fun. We're fair! They shout while they cut our shares. Amazon math, man, it's full of errors. Fees, taking our dough. They're stacking the deck, and it's sellers who owe. Reimbursements? Nah, they're taking us down, but we're still here, we don't mess around. Fees, straight to the top. Amazon's game, it'll never stop. Margins tight, but we keep the grind. Sellers unite, we're one of a kind.
I try to sell my product on Amazon, thought it'd be a breeze. But little did I know I'd be stuck with seller support disease. They never seem to solve my problems, just give me the runaround. I'm tired of waiting on hold. My patience is wearing thin, I'll never be found. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck. Can't get no satisfaction. I'm out of luck, out of luck, out of luck. You don't care about my business, just trying to make a buck. Amazon seller support, you suck, you suck, you suck.
This one's for the sellers on the grind, getting left on red, wasting all their time. I hit up support, got an auto reply. Thanks for your patience, man, I wanna cry. Inventory lost, my margins are toast. Reps playing tag like the cast with the ghost. They pass me around, it's a never-ending game. Nobody takes action, everybody shifts blame. My ASIN's down, I'm out of the race. They say they'll escalate, yo, what a disgrace. Amazon seller support, you're breaking my heart. No answers, no fixes, just tearing me apart. Hours in the queue, stuck in the dark. Amazon seller support, you're missing the mark.
Amazon game plan, that is the key. Seller central dashboard, that's where I be. Analyze the funnel, see what we lack, then we optimize. Sellers know it's a fact. I get it poppin', you know that it's lit. Climbing the rankings, ain't no room to quit. I check the data, they notice the stats. I keep the method, that's how you adapt. Metrics are showing, you know it's our cap. Amazon sellers, it's time to react. I'm about that action, I do this with passion. I got them like, whoa, what is this? Huh, whoa.
I don't know, dude. I think everybody's just buying stuff based on reviews and badges or whatever. They don't even know who we are. These customers don't even know the name of my brand. But they keep clicking add to cart like it's part of the plan. They see that Amazon badge and think it's all grand. But yo, they don't even know the name of my brand.
Click, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell a day. Now listen up, I'm Steven Pope. Amazon guru, I'll help you cope. Step 1, get that trademark stamped. Without brand registry, your Amazon cramped. Head to Seller Central, log in quick. Manage stores tab, yeah, that's the trick. Upload your logo, flex that style. You're about to make Jeff Bezos smile. Where pick a template, marquee or grid. Drop your tiles like a branding whiz. Hero image, big and bold. This store's gonna glitter like digital gold. Flex, scroll, build your store. Amazon's waiting, what you waiting for? Brand it loud, make it shine. Steven's here to drop the rhyme. Blue tiles, banners, plug and play. Your storefront's live, let's sell today. Yo. In the trenches of the Amazon game, trying to survive while it's driving me insane. Nobody warns you, they just claim it's passive income. Nah, it's pain. I'm sitting at a birthday, laughing, chilling, next to a newbie Amazon seller spilling. She's like, Prime so smooth, it's a killer. Then tried to sell, now she's stuck in a thriller. Finding products, yeah, that's the first grind. Scrolling Alibaba, losing my mind. Samples suck, manufacturers decline. I'm like, dang, how's anyone doing this fine? Ship it in, pay for the bubble wrap, but they ship glass bottles in padded crap. Now I got hot sauce leaks, refund stacked, customers pissed. Man, I'm under attack. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat. Trademark wars, brand registry's a scam. They banned my brand, now I'm in a jam. Listings yanked, products ranked and tanked. Lost dogs in the catalog, my account shanked. Now let's talk ads, it's a rabbit hole. 1,000 hours deep, man, it's taking my soul. Weekly negations, bulk sheets for control. Excel's my new weapon, but it's taking its toll. SEO's no joke, keywords in the game. Alt text, A+ content, playing insane. Lifestyle shots, avatars for fame, but the CTR's low, all products look the same. Amazon's a beast, it's a fight, no peace. From SEO to PPC, from SEO to PPC, the hustle don't cease. Think it's passive? Nah, you better increase your tolerance for chaos or face defeat.
Let's go to Mac School. To Mac School. Class is now in session with Professor Pope.
They got the SOP, cause Professor Pope wrote the recipe. Helping Amazon sellers grow sales exponentially. Amazon's a jungle, but we map the strategy. Brand strategist playbook, it's a guide to victory. Troubleshooting catalog, you know we got the answer key. Boosting all your rankings, turning sales into a legacy. SOB so deep, you think we studied at Mac School. Every step we follow leads to growth, yeah, it's a golden rule. Stuck on keywords, we'll find the ones that work the best. Using Helium 10, strike distance keywords pass the test. Incremental indexing ensures the listing set to rise. From the back end to the bullets, optimization hits the skies. Brand store creation, yeah, we make it shine and flow. A+ content design makes conversions overflow. Need your images on point, best practices in the plan. All text and photo rules ensure your visuals command. SEO meets PPC, it's balanced, every step aligned. We'll construct the MKLs that drive rankings over time. Budget caps and bid adjustments, no more wasted spending. Segmentation builds campaigns that sellers can defend. Got a hijacker, no problem, we'll file to take them down. Review requests in action, 5-star ratings come around. Flat file updates, market share reports, it's all in reach. Professor Pope wrote the SOP so sellers learn and teach.
Meanwhile, my Amazon guys on the case, fixing up my problems at lightning pace. Ticket escalations, Mag's the boss. Even Amazon says we'll take the loss. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. They're supposed to be the pros, but they can't decode policies and tools from their own damn road. I'm paying fees, yet they bring me stress. But Mag turns my chaos into pure success. Seller support reps, they throwing shade, but then admit, yo, Mag will get you paid. Third-party agency taking the throne while Amazon fumbles in their own damn zone. Seller support don't know what's up. Passing the buck when the issue gets tough. They're the official team, but they can't comply. So they say, reach out to my Amazon guy. So here's the truth, let's keep it real. Mag's the team with the pro-level skill. Amazon sellers, you know the vibe when support says call Mag. They'll give you peace of mind. Amazon seller support, you can suck my image stack. Sucking is all you're good at anyway. Bezos, hit me up if you want to sell seller support. I'm buying. There's a chase. Peace.
Hello and welcome to the My Amazon Guy Friday live Q&A. My name is Joe Wickham. I am VP of Sales and Marketing here at My Amazon Guy, and I'm here to answer any and all of your questions, whether that be Amazon related, e-commerce related, Shopify, Google, Meta, I don't know, something about world events, I suppose. Feel free to ask it in the chat. We will go through every single question in order as we get them. If you want to get yours read ahead of time, just, I don't know, become like a channel member or something. I'll do that, such as Ari, who is a new YouTube channel member. Welcome, Ari. Glad to have you here. All of that being said, we got a bunch already today. Hi. I want you guys to know that this person left all of these comments at like 4 in the morning. Literally 4:45 in the morning, they were leaving these, what is that, 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours before we even start, 7 even. Let's see. How to sync reviews from source marketplace to target marketplace via BIL. So you have to essentially, with Build International Listings, that's BIL for anyone who doesn't know, you have to actually make sure that you are using the same ASIN across marketplaces. If you set up the ASIN across marketplaces and it's the same exact ASIN, the reviews will automatically sync to that new marketplace. How to enable strike-through price on new listing ASAP. You cannot. For strike-through price, you actually have to have a average selling price so that Amazon knows what you're striking through. So your list price technically is what your average selling price is going to end up being, but to actually get that strike-through price, you have to have an average selling price. Interesting first questions. Zenny, and this one was at 10:30. So if you guys really want to be like first up to bat, you got to get here early and ask those questions real early, because this one was 2 hours ago almost. Would you recommend enrolling in the North American Remote Fulfillment Program to make our listing available in Mexico and Canada, or is it better to create separate listings for those marketplaces? So the low cost option here is to do NARF, or North American Remote Fulfillment. That being said, a quick little thing about that is that your sales will be significantly lower via NARF than they would if you are actually in the marketplace. Now for Mexico, unless you have a really low price product, I wouldn't even recommend it necessarily, just because it's not going to really go anywhere with NARF. Canada, you can do okay-ish with, but in this day and age, honestly, I would just do it in the marketplace for Canada. If you have the inventory and you can, split your inventory up between marketplaces, I would do that. So let's see. What's the best way to leverage brand tailored promotions, and do they really help in boosting sales? Yeah, they actually do help. Depends on what your goal is. If you're trying to just like drive new sales, right, there's specific types of brand tailored promotions for new to brand customers, right? You can also do things such as like remarketing and retargeting. So like brand cart abandoners are really good, especially we have, the Prime Big Deals Day coming up here next couple of days. It's a really, really good time to utilize essentially the brand tailored promotions 1 week after that for brand cart abandoners, because tons of people come through and tons of people essentially start adding into cart, but they don't check out. So it's a really good time to essentially try and remarket, retarget those people. Usually they'll have a little bit of FOMO if they didn't buy during, and so they like to buy after. So I usually see a lot of uptick there. But yeah, I love brand tailored promotions. I have a ton of videos on brand tailored promotions, what types you should use for what you're trying to do, whether it's building brand growth with high interest brand tailored, or for instance, even like I said, just remarketing efforts. Let's see here. Oh, I lost my placement. There we are. Is Wyoming LLC good for Amazon private label? Yeah. Wyoming LLC, Delaware LLC, those are all fairly common ones. Especially if you're like out international and everything, those are good ones to go with. Usually, what is the rough net margin of Amazon private label? This will depend pretty heavily on a few different things. So the gross margin, or I guess even net, really realistically, that you have to even be able to like sell on Amazon, it's pretty much like 60 to 65% gross, just from the aspect of you have to consider referral fees, you have to consider fulfillment fees, you have to consider advertising costs, you have to consider like coupon fees, a lot of fees. You can check all of this via Amazon's revenue calculator as well. But so that's like rough what you have to have from like a gross percentage. Net, it really depends on category. I mean, I've worked with sellers who are like, yeah, I have 100% margins on my product at the end of the day, because it just, yeah, they're like double, triple what their cost of goods is, even from like a net perspective after it. So you can have really, really good margins in some categories. Other ones, if you're selling like really large product, right? Large and bulky product, usually have much lower, have like, 10, 15, 20% net margin. So just depends on your category, your product, your price point, things like that. Beast Canteen. I wonder if that's your brand name or not. I have a throat thing going on today. I don't know what's going on. So okay to reuse GS1 GTINs that I previously used for a now retired product. Can I edit the details of the GTIN on GS1 portal and reuse for a new product? No, you cannot. I would not recommend it either. You'll run into problems with Amazon flagging it. Amazon doesn't want you to like change ever what the UPC identification is. So even if you change it on GS1, doesn't matter. The listing itself is what you're going to have a problem when you try and actually change the listing and all of the listing information. So let's say I had a GTIN that was attached to a deck of cards, and then I'm like, I don't sell this deck of cards anymore. And then I'm like, now I'm going to sell some hand sanitizer, right? Yeah, you can't do that. They just won't let you, because they will identify that essentially what you are listing as hand sanitizer now is actually supposed to be a deck of cards, even if you change it over on GS1. So it doesn't really work all that well. I just would recommend doing a new GS1 UPC. It's not that expensive. It's like $100. At the end of the day, I get it. Try and save some profit where you can, but you're just going to save yourself a lot of headaches and a lot of time investment, and it's much, 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 much less costly from a time investment standpoint to get a new GS1. I merged 2 accounts. Is it normal to have to sign in to both accounts when I log in, not single sign in? No, it is not. In fact, that means that you technically did an improper merge. I'm guessing you didn't enroll seller support in the help with this, or if you did, they did not do it all the way through. So I would submit a seller support case. I would make sure you have the merchant token of both accounts that you are talking about, and that you essentially can go through. Now, the question I would have here is, when you say you merged 2 accounts, are you saying that you had 2 accounts with 2 brands and then you just moved or you merged them together, and so now you have one login for both accounts, or how does that work? Because typically what should happen here is that you should just have one login. That login is for one account now, and then you can just switch in between brands on that one account as you see fit. So that's the real proper way, I should say, at the end of the day, to be able to do it, but we should see. Did something change with the sponsored product search term report? For me, it hasn't been working the last few months. Major sneeze. Sorry. For me, it hasn't been working the last few months. Takes a much longer time than before to create a report than before. No, I don't think so. I mean, the time frame, yeah, can change, especially depending on how much data you're pulling all at once. So that's really just going to be dependent on, like I said, how much data you're pulling, what you're pulling, how often you're pulling it, things like that. So that part of it, yeah, load times can vary, but nothing from what I've known, has changed around it. You might just have more data now than you used to. I created a new listing. Gave me the ASIN. Okay. No sales yet. My first inventory is on the boat. In order to add this product to my UK catalog, does it need to be in stock and making sales? No. So you can add it. The listing itself should appear on your backend catalog if you already created the listing. The thing is that you likely, yes, are not going to actually be able to make a sale or anything like that until you have either stock or it's in receiving. So the inventory itself has to actually be in the receiving stage before Amazon will let the product technically be live. And that's when they will allow things like a pre-order technically, where it's like, yeah, you can order it, but it's like 2 weeks out from when they will actually be able to have the product itself. Hey, just your start, which is going to be special in upcoming years, and vertical should be beneficial for consumers. What? Am I dyslexic right now? Just your to start, which is going to be special enough. I don't know what this is asking. Maybe I'm having a, I don't know, am I having a stroke? Let's see here. I have Daniel. Daniel, I want you to know that I see 2, 3, and 4 of your message. I do not see 1. I don't know where your first comment is, unfortunately here. So I'm just going to go off of 2, 3, and 4 and hope for the best here. Your account will be migrated to DD+7 on March 12th. On March 12th, 2026. In line with your feedback, we'll update your reserve settings to the standard reserve period of 7 days after delivery date +7, and so forth. Never gave any quote-unquote feedback on the matter. They already hold funds on the 2-week unlawful settlement cycle of what is essentially a merchant account, senators, congressmen, attorney general. Yeah. So I think what you're telling me right now is that essentially you're going to be updated to the point where it is delivery date +7 days. For reference, Daniel, that's actually a lot better than most people. Most people have delivery date +30 for the return cycle and period, especially newer sellers. Your whole thing of saying, like, for instance, 2-week unlawful settlement cycle, it's not. You agreed to the Amazon terms of service. Does it suck and do I hate it? Yes. Is there anything you can really do? No. Does Amazon suck for that? And should they just pay you out immediately and then recoup fees as necessary? Yeah, but I'll be entirely, I'll be entirely frank in this. Part of the problem here, Daniel, is not sellers that abide by the terms of service like you or me, right? The problem is that there are a lot of sellers out there. A lot of really bad black hat sellers and everything. A lot of just crappy people who ruin it for the rest of us. So think of this scenario of essentially somebody sets up a listing. They set up a product. It is a product people really want. Let's say, I don't know, it's a deck of cards, right? People are hammering over this deck of cards. They're like, oh, fantastic. And better yet, it's $5 cheaper than anywhere else you can buy it. And you're like, heck yeah. And then all of a sudden, 3,000 orders come in. And they're like, we only have 100 deck of, goodness. We only have 100 of this deck of cards, right? And so what do? They don't fulfill it. And all of a sudden, now Amazon would be on the hook for, if they did just immediate payout periods, Amazon would be on the hook for essentially $2,900 worth of decks of cards that were sold. And how can they get back from a company that was just created 2 weeks ago by someone who is offshores, who used someone else's identity to set it up, and through a bank account that no longer exists and no longer has any funds in it? I'm not saying it's right. Like I said, what Amazon does. What I am saying is that there is a small minority that ruins it for the rest of us, unfortunately. Jennifer. Hi, Noah. Hold on, give me a sec. There we go. Hi, Noah. Any tools or methods you can share on how you check the status of a listing, like keywords, the seller's visibility on Amazon, etc.? Yeah, I mean, I use several things. So Data Dive is one that we really like using internally for like competitor reports. We use it for keyword research, things like that. We also use Helium 10 Cerebro. That's fairly common. That's very often. I've been using personally Smart Scout quite a bit lately. I love Smart Scout. They do great stuff over there. Scout's a great guy. They're always coming up with new tools. And especially if you're not like private label, maybe you're like a wholesaler or reseller, Smart Scout's like probably your #1 tool, to be honest. You can use Jungle Scout. That's another really great one as well. So, and there's tons of tools out there. Just kind of is more dealer's choice what you like using more than anything. Many sellers overspend on PPC in Q4 without seeing proportional sales growth. What's your recommended strategy to balance aggressive visibility with controlled ACoS tacos during peak shopping days? Yeah, so one of the major things that I see people who are not super accustomed with PPC in general do that is incorrect on their advertising during selling periods is that people end up raising their bids, thinking, oh, I really want to try and get in front of everyone during this time, forgetting the fact that not only are there, yes, more shoppers on the platform, but there's way more window shoppers. And there's way more people that will just click your listing and click immediately off your listing because it's not actually what they need at the end of the day. And so I see so many people who will do that, where essentially they go through, they raise their bids and all this stuff. And that's usually what the cause of like really rising ACoS during the holidays is that people don't know how to properly do that. I always want you to raise your budgets just because you should. I'm gonna tilt this down a little bit more. There we go. But I always want you to raise your budgets because you should during these shopping periods. But I mean, if you're just like trying to get more sales and everything, raising your bids isn't going to do much. It's really going to hurt your overall from like a amount that you're paying for a cost per click. Usually I lower budgets and you don't see much of a difference as far as overall impression count or anything like that. The actual amount that people are raising bids during holiday season, all it really does just hurt everyone across the board. Doesn't actually help you all that much. It just, so budget is usually my number one go-to. And then usually I'll do like bid adjustments for specific types of bids that I'm trying to do. While also protecting margins. Yeah, don't raise your bids. All right, let's see here. I know. Thank you for the Q&A. Last week when I asked you how to download the creative assets from inside Campaign Manager, when clicking on the 3 dots, the download field is still grayed out. Yeah, again, I think Lifestyle, you have to talk to your advertising support for this, because I checked 4 different accounts and I still don't see that as a thing. It's able to be downloaded on everything. Are you applying it to a specific ASIN already? Or is this just something that you create in general? So that's kind of the thing that I would check. But you should absolutely be able to download it. It sounds like you have a specific issue on your account level versus anything. Hello, Noah. Do I need a resale certificate if I only sell Amazon private label products? All products are imported from China. None are from the USA. No, you do not. No, you do not. Should I create separate Amazon accounts for separate brands? You don't have to. That's a very much a personal business-sided decision more than anything. So I always kind of have a rule of thought of this. For the new brand, am I planning on selling this brand separately from my other brand at any point in time? Am I planning on selling the business associated with it? Do I want to set up a separate LLC for specifically this brand? Am I planning on doing anything outside of Amazon with either of these brands? The answer to all those questions is yes. Then yeah, set up a separate account. If the answer is no, I'm just creating a new brand because I find this new niche and I think it matches with what I'm currently doing and everything, you should be fine. The big thing at the end of the day is essentially just making sure that you can set yourself up for success with both brands at the same time. There's pros, cons, right? So the pro of doing it on the same account as your current brand. So you already have history on that account. You already have probably some updated seller actions on there. You already have, the ability to add into your advertising. You don't need new credit cards. You don't need new bank accounts or anything. The cons obviously are of setting up a new account would be, like I said, new bank accounts, new credit cards. You also would have to go through the aspect of verification again for that specific account. You would need to essentially, do whatever. But the pro of setting up a new account, you get like the new seller incentive bonus for that brand. You get some ad spend bonus for that brand. You have a little bit easier time diversifying between the two with strategies, etc. Finances and taxes are a little bit easier. So, let's say the new brand doesn't work out, doesn't necessarily negatively impact your current account in any way. So like I said, pro con of each. It's more dealer's choice and whatnot. Please make a video on AMC. It's really funny you say that because I literally made a video on AMC yesterday that I can actually check right now, Abdullah, as to the status of that video. I'm sure that Gil on the back end will actually tell me as well. Let's see here. That video will be up in probably sometime early next week, I would imagine. Yeah, it'll be up sometime early next week, but yeah, I just recorded one yesterday. Gil is on the back end. He says he's checking now, so he'll give me a more definitive answer. How often should we adjust product prices to stay competitive? Dynamic pricing is kind of the name of the game. I like to typically do dynamic pricing at least once per month, just to drive some additional sales. How often should you really be adjusting those prices? Dealer's choice, not really dealer's choice. I typically am going to say adjust based on your conversion, right? If you can, raise your price by $1 and your conversion doesn't change whatsoever, fantastic. Why wouldn't you, right? You're making an extra $1 of basically profit at the end of the day. Well, not a full dollar because referral fees, but you get what I'm saying. So you need to do price testing is more so what I would do rather than just saying, hey, how often should I be adjusting it? Hi, my ASIN has been selling for 7 years, but is ineligible for sponsored ads because it is deemed alcohol related. I recently scrubbed all listing copy and back end of alcohol references and changed the category to travel plastic bottles. The only alcohol mentions left are in customer reviews, but AdSport keeps rejecting appeals, saying that it's clearly an alcohol smuggling product. Meanwhile, competitor GoPong sells 2K units a month, and I need to run product targeting ads on their detail page. My product is an improved and upgraded version of their product. How can I get my ASIN made eligible for sponsored ads in this situation? Or is it impossible? Thanks so much. Yep. So 2 issues you're going to face here. One second. So the first issue, Ari, that you are going to face is the fact that Amazon, just because you scrub your listing of a bunch of details, Amazon keeps all of the data of a listing on the back end. So you're not necessarily, when you scrub a listing of all of these details, you're not actually getting rid fully of those details. It's not like Amazon just is like, oh, you're right, this never was this thing, right? Like Amazon knows that is attached as far as a keyword to your listing and that you have had that title. So that does help at the end of the day. Now, bigger issue is, yes, those customer reviews. Unfortunately, you can't do anything about customer reviews. It's one of those things where I have seen listings be taken down in the past, actually, because people put in the customer reviews images of themselves in, let's say, explicit manners. It's actually one of the problems a lot of times with like products in adult categories, for instance, and sometimes even in like apparel, where products will get labeled as an adult product because a customer leaves a review with a picture of some kind that is explicit in some capacity, and boom, now you can't advertise on it. So there's not a lot you can do. Now, if I were in your position, I'd do one of 2 things. One, you could try and do a new product launch, and essentially with all of your new copy and everything, don't attach it to the current listing, don't attach it to the current package, and see if you can potentially get that new product to be allowed via sponsored ads. But yeah, I mean, especially for those like incognito alcohol products and everything, it's really hard, right? Whereas like GoPong, one of the reasons they probably are able to essentially get away with it comes from the aspect that they aren't specifically like mentioning that aspect of it, right? So it's unfortunate. It's one of those things that's hard to get around. You can, but a new listing is likely your best option within this. Again, Amazon keeps the history of everything, and yeah, your customer reviews are going to, unfortunately, be a part of how Amazon reviews what your product actually is. How can sellers best update their listings for Q4 to improve conversion rates when competition and cost per clicks rise significantly? Main image hack number one. Main image hack is the biggest thing for click-through rate. Make sure your main image hack is really, really good. Now, pricing is a huge converting factor this time of year. So do some dynamic pricing, do some testing, do a strike through during this time, add a coupon on, 10% off, have that coupon run until the end of the year. Very consistently. That's a big, big thing that I would do. I'd also very much make sure that you update all of your actual images as well to align with making sure that any negative review that is on your product right now is addressed in some capacity. You don't want to get a giant influx of sales and then it turns out that everyone bought your product with some misleading factor and then all of a sudden people are giving you negative reviews, right? So, there's no difference or differentiating feature as to how to improve your conversion rate during this time of year compared to others, right? Some people like to do, if they have like a giftable product, you can do like a little bow on your main image to like show that it's very giftable. Helps a little bit with your click-through rate, but not immensely. I get with the black hat sellers. Our account is over a decade old with perfect health. We've never had a payment reserve. Yeah. Something you could try here, Daniel, is I don't know if you have one, but if you've ever been in contact with an Amazon's rep of some kind, you can tend to try and talk to them and see if they can do anything for you, especially with an older account that's never had any issues whatsoever. A couple of things. Maybe did you receive an influx of returns recently for one of your products? Did you do a new launch of a product of any kind? Did you get into a new category by chance? Like these are all some things that just typically come to my mind for problems like this that I see people having usually. I know you are a gem of my Amazon guy. My question is, I started Facebook ads for Amazon book and KDP ads. Two, what is your thought and KDP keyword research tool? So KDP is really hard. I'll be entirely honest with you. I don't even do KDP with a lot of clients simply because it's just really, really difficult at the end of the day to like get traction on your product. It's either like you're going to get traction or you're not. Facebook is a great tool for that. To be honest, I would continue the Facebook ads. I'm indifferent on the KDP ads just because they're hit or miss realistically. A lot of times, and they're not really great at targeting the correct demo and audience. So up in the air on it, but Facebook ads are fantastic. As far as keyword research tool, there's not really any. It's Helium 10, right? So you can still use that technically, but it's not, again, it's not great. You can't optimize a KDP listing the same way that you can optimize a regular product listing because it's just limited and you're doing everything through KDP. Let's see. Have been stuck with wrong fulfillment fees being charged. Small standard moves to large standard. Amazon corrects it once a Cubiscan is raised. However, after some time, it revert to the old fulfillment fees. Yep. I see this all the time. And so we have a standard process internally of basically having Cubiscans done like religiously. For products, especially ones that are like just near that border of like a new sizing group, because a lot of times what will end up happening is people will essentially just go through, and by people I mean Amazon fulfillment workers. It's just easier sometimes for them to put it into a larger box, and so they will, and then Amazon charges you more, and boom, now you're essentially having to deal with that. So yeah, a big thing that we tend to do quite frequently is we will just Cubiscans on a regular basis. Now, if you're really, really stuck here, Dharmesh, another thing I would suggest doing to try and recoup some of those fees, you could go through My Refund Guy. It's our reimbursement service. We do this all the time for people where it's a really frequent recurring problem, and we will recoup a lot of those fees for you. So if you head over to myrefundguy.com, you can sign up over there. Skunk Prince, hi, my Amazon guy. Hello. New subscriber here. So far learned the most from you compared to other YouTubers on the topic of Amazon. I appreciate that. I love that. I am glad to hear. My ASIN is a sensory toy I developed and manufacture myself. I botched the launch and had items in 2 different categories. How to best categorize my sensory squirrel? So this is going to be a bit difficult. If it is a toy product, you technically really want to stay within that realm of children's toys. Specifically because Amazon is kind of crucial when it comes to any products that are meant for children in general. And you're likely going to have your certification for children's products in general. So any children's toy, any children's product needs to have that certification. And Amazon's going to request it at some point in time. You're not going to be able to get out of that. And so I would make sure, if you haven't done that already, go and do that. Now, how do you best categorize it? Again, I'd stay within the toys category. It's very hard. Category in general, and this is something I actually just talked to somebody about. Category in general doesn't nearly matter all that much when you have like a pretty niche product, just because people aren't searching for your product via a category, right? Because there's not like a very perfect category for your product in general. Instead, people are going to be searching for it by keywords. So don't worry too much about your category for a niche product like yours. Instead, go through and just make sure that you have your keywords consistently being optimized, so that you don't have this problem in the future. If you essentially do that, you should have a pretty easy time, so to speak, when it comes to getting those sales. But yeah, it's not. I guess the best way to put it is it doesn't matter. It really doesn't for a product that's super niche that people don't necessarily look at a category for. They look because they are trying to find that specific type of product. So hopefully that kind of clears up the air for you. How to address these cases? Cubiscans are limited to 20 in rolling 30 days. Also, is there any way to get Cubiscan capping removed? No way to get it removed. I'll be entirely frank with you, Dharmesh. I didn't even know that there was a cap, because I don't know a situation where I ever would need to be having a Cubiscan done more than 20 times in a rolling 30-day period. In fact, I would think that if you ask that in a rolling 30-day period, Amazon would get pretty annoyed with you, which is probably why they have the cap. So your best bet here is to have a weekly Cubiscan done, so 4 times a month. And then, like I said, essentially trying to recoup any fees that Amazon is doing. And that's the bigger part, is recouping those fees from the wrong shipments and fulfillments. Because the second that you start asking Amazon for the money back, and it costs them more, because again, that's the big thing here, is that Amazon, it's not like they're trying to screw you over. They are charging you because they are sending out a larger package. Now, if they do that incorrectly, because your package should not be that size, then it will end up in a situation where essentially they are now paying and footing that bill for their workers putting your package in the wrong size box. And so, yeah, I would definitely look at essentially some reimbursement tactics there. Ari, thanks, Noah. Do you still offer the 2-for-1 deal main image CTR hack image design? Love that service for immediate sales boost. Y'all at MagRock. Absolutely. Yeah, just shoot us over an email, Ari, and happy to get you a main image. I'll get you 2, 3, whatever you need. Podcast at myamazonguy.com for the quickest response. Gil's finger was hovering over the button, waiting for me to say it. That was quick work. Hello. Do you have any idea of Days of Dead event in USA? Are you talking about Halloween? The thing that I have a skeleton up for right over there. Yeah, the Halloween event is going on right now. So, I mean, you can go to Amazon right now and they have all of their Halloween stuff up. They don't call it Days of the Dead and whatnot. You can, I think, in the MX marketplace, they do a Days of the Dead event. But yeah, I mean, for Halloween, it's just the Halloween section on Amazon right now. So you can get into that as early as like early September, I believe. Hello, Noah. Several years, 5+? Yeah, I'm the same way, man. I always put a question mark at the end too. I have to like start doing the math in my head. There was a talk about high revenue sellers having dedicated account specialists. Is that still a thing? If so, at what level? 6 figures, 7, 8? Long time ago, Eric. Long time ago. Yeah. High revenue sellers used to get a kind of dedicated account specialist. Then Amazon realized that costs a lot of money for them to do. Sorry, hold on. I started getting like a really bad tickle in my throat. Yeah, so they realized that costs a lot of money for them to do, and so they don't do that anymore. Instead, they came out with the SAS program, which essentially gets you, yes, a dedicated Amazon specialist person, support specialist person. They are not in any way, shape, or form dedicated to you. I want to make that as abundantly clear as possible. The average SAS person, the last time that was checked, had about 3,000 accounts assigned to them. So do with that information what you will. Now, you can, if you're spending a lot of money, typically over $50,000 a month, get a dedicated Amazon ads rep. Amazon ads reps are better, but they are Amazon ads only focused. They do not do anything on any other part of Amazon. They are only, like I said, ads focused. That's their entire role. So that's where it's at. The big thing, if you're really kind of needing dedicated account specialists and help, talk to us. We have tons of contacts inside of Amazon that, if we need to move things along, we can. I actually just added a bunch to our list from me talking to people at Accelerate and getting some emails. That being said, a lot of times, whatever account specialist at Amazon can do, we've been able to do much faster just because we know the system inside out at this point. So feel free to reach out to us for any issues. Are you guys hiring an account manager? Yeah, you can head on over to myamazonguy.com/jobs and apply over there. Always hiring. Always hiring. Love that you do these lives, Noah. I love that I do them too. It's a good way to break up and kind of end the week, on a positive note. Very helpful to sellers. I opted out of All Prime this year. I'm hearing that more and more. The math showed I needed to triple sales with the 15% discount just to pay the $1,000 best deal fee. So your first problem, first and foremost, is best deal fees and best deal in general just kind of sucks. I don't like it. You're much better off doing like a Prime exclusive discount at the end of the day. And you go on to now say, also, the 30% discount may get you an additional merchandising is totally murky and not committal on their end. Yeah, it's not in the slightest. And it's one of those things. I don't do the best deal fees like ever, to be honest. It's just not worth it for majority of people unless you're already doing like a lot of sales volume as is. What I typically, like I said, I'm going to recommend Prime exclusive discounts. Those are great. You can do coupons, specific discounts for these deal days now. That's also another really great one. You can also just do a strike through, right? And, the biggest thing is utilizing this as just a time to build up your audience groups going into Black Friday, Cyber Monday for some really like granular specific targeting. Daniel, you can get out of the CPC requirement, raise the manufacturer's min age to 14 years on the listing and remove any reference to kids, children, etc. Don't feature kids in the photos. I agree with you, Daniel. You absolutely can do that. That would absolutely work for getting you out of it. It also completely diminishes and segments your audience and who you're trying to sell the product for. So kind of catch-22 there. At the end of the day. And so, if you're selling, that person was selling a sensory toy for children, right? Kind of hard to say, yeah, raise to 14 plus and then, remove any kids whatsoever from your imagery and anything towards it. Kind of hard to grow products in that capacity then, especially when I bet like the top search term is something along the lines of sensory toys for kids, right? So I get where you're going at, Daniel, but you kind of shoot yourself in the foot in that capacity. What would be the thing to be careful about when doing Amazon build international listing? Making sure that you have all of your documentation set up, probably. I mean, I guess I don't understand what you're kind of asking from a question standpoint here. The most careful thing is make sure you have VAT, make sure you have your responsible person, make sure you have X, Y, and Z, right? Like so on and so forth. Do you offer any services to optimize listings? Yeah, we do. Yeah, you can head on over to myamazonguy.com. And under our services tab, we actually have a full thing for listing optimization. I think we actually have a good slug for it too. I think you can just do like myamazonguy.com/listing, and it should pull up with our full listing optimization. We totally do that. We do account management as well, just full management. That's like monthly listing optimization, full account management, ads management, so on and so forth. So tons of different stuff. I would head over to the website, check it out under our services tab right at the top. And if you need to as well, Skunk Prince, feel free to go to myamazonguy.com/book, and you can just book a call with one of my team members, and they'll talk to you, kind of guide you through the whole process and tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what you need and don't need, so on and so forth. Let's see, here we go. Currently, we are running auto and manual campaigns. What other types of campaigns should we focus on to get better results? Yeah, I mean, auto and manual campaigns, right? I mean, you're essentially saying, I think you're asking campaign types so sponsor product, broad is a big one. I see people who are afraid of Amazon ads always get away from broad campaigns. Use broad. I love them. Broad is great. Exact is great. As well, if you're trying to get like really granular targeting at the end of the day with like really niche keyword. We don't do a ton of sponsor brand stuff unless you're kind of a larger seller, where you have like a very technical type of product that needs like a video, for instance, to make it really sell, make it really a great feature. So sponsor brand video is also pretty good. But yeah, those are the primary things I'm going to recommend. Is there any chance of sales boost up during Day of the Dead? I think, again, we're asking about Halloween, Day of the Dead, Halloween, Dias de los Muertos, I think. Is that it? Am I butchering? Dias de los Muertos. We have a lot of Spanish-speaking people internally, and I know that one of them is going to message me and be like, "You've butchered the pronunciation." Yeah, Dias de los Muertos. I can't roll my R's, so sorry. So Day of the Dead, Dias de los Muertos, Halloween, all of that. Yeah, if you have a product that is geared towards those holidays, absolutely. If you don't, then up in the air, right? Like, probably not going to see much of a boost there unless you have something that's about those. But yeah. Thank you, Daniel. I list as min-age 14 to get around it. Okay, so it's Skunk Prince lists as 14. That's interesting. Yes, it's not the route that I would go, especially because it's so easy to get the compliance for the CPC. At the end of the day, it's not hard. So, but dealer's choice, I suppose. What are the ways to get access What are the ways to get access of getting access of, okay, I'm not going crazy. What are the ways of getting access of Amazon Prime EBC? So it's not called EBC anymore, people. It's A+ content nowadays. Quickly, for those that don't know, EBC is enhanced brand content. It's what A+ content was back in the day. Quickly, if we have only 5 ASINs, well, you can only get an A+ content access if you have brand registry, so that you automatically get A+ content access if you have brand registry. So it doesn't matter how many ASINs you have, you just need to make sure your ASINs are attached to a brand on brand registry. To get brand registry, you have to have a registered or a pending trademark via the USPTO. We have baseball grips printed on that theme. Yeah, so I mean, I would just target towards that then, if you have stuff on that theme. How to get reviews quickly on newly launched product. Get more sales. A lot of people are going to sit around and be like, you should use the Vine program. I hate the Vine program. I think it's expensive. I think that it has a lower overall review rating on average than just selling a good product and getting reviews. In general, I just don't recommend the Vine program to most people and most sellers, just get more sales. The reviews will come, but realistically, the difference between like 5 and 25 reviews from like a review count standpoint is negligible for your conversion rate. It's actually one of those things that there was a guy, entirely frank, I got annoyed one day on LinkedIn. A guy was saying that no, there is a huge, substantial difference between 5 reviews and 50 reviews for review count. So I actually went through and had our team pull the conversion rate for products that had anywhere from 0 review count all the way up to 100 review count. Fun fact, conversion rate was negligible. It was less than a 0.2% difference from 5 reviews all the way up to 100 reviews. So just focus on sales, focus on making sure that you address any negative reviews early on in your design for your listing so you don't get more negative reviews. But your review rating matters much more substantially than your review count. For reference, anything below roughly a 4.5, 4.3 rating actually does have about a 1 percentage point swing in your conversion rate comparatively. So even at the lower review counts. Should new and small brand run sponsored brands and display ads? Probably not. No, I'm going to be entirely frank with you. Just no, it's not going to be worth your time and effort right now. It's not going to lead to a substantial increase. The only time I would say for like sponsored brand would be, again, if you have like a really technical product and you have a lot of like budget to like push through. But if you're sitting with a budget of like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month or something, no, just focus really heavily on sponsored products. It's going to be the highest converting type of advertisement for you. Let's see. Why does Steven still push the idea of A+ text and A+ alt text being indexed? I work with Amazon Strategic Account Services, and the information I have from them is that nothing in A+ gets indexed. So couple of reasons. One, because anyone who ever actually works at Amazon, especially Strategic Account Services, doesn't actually know Amazon. They don't know the Amazon algorithm. They are not people who are trained on Amazon. They've never sold on Amazon, and they are told to basically say certain things. One of those things is that they are supposed to tell you alt text is not to be used for indexing. It is to be used as a reading and a viewable thing. They actually are not allowed to tell you that alt text can index because technically that goes against their internal policy. Now, the question you're probably realistically asking is, does alt text actually still index? And the answer is yes. And I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of products that I can confidently say, yes, it indexes. A very easy test you can do, Phil, is to essentially do this. Go through, add alt text onto your A+ content. Actually, the better aspect here is A+ text in general. Saying that doesn't index is crazy work. But essentially go through, add the A+ alt text onto your product, add specific keyword that you are trying to index for that is related to your product. Don't add it anywhere else except for the alt text. Wait 30 to 60 days worth of sales volume, and then do a check against your ASIN and see if you are indexing for that keyword. If you are, or if you're not indexing for that keyword, sure, maybe. But I would argue that no, you absolutely will be indexing for that keyword within that time because we can see it all the time happening. Again, Strategic Account Services is basically just seller support extra at the end of the day. And I think everyone here can probably agree that we know a little bit more than most seller support agents. So, do you offer eBay account creation? No, not that I'm aware of, not something we've really done. We've done some eBay accounts like management before, but not creation. I know, I want to open another seller account for wholesale. Can it be the same company but different DBA, same IP, and same person to contact? You are awesome. So no, you have to have for a new account on Amazon, you have to have a new LLC, you have to have a new bank account, you have to have a different address. Those are the primary things. You can have the same person of contact, just can't be the same email, for instance. So you have to have a new email for them as well. So yeah, you can open multiple seller accounts. That's not an issue whatsoever. It just has to be a different business entity entirely from your current one. So otherwise you'll just run into verification issues at the end of the day. New problem I'm finding on Amazon. Many 3D print listings selling the same licensed models, but change one color and call it their own. This seems very problematic for the platform. Uh, yeah, I mean, kinda, I guess. It would seem pretty problematic. I mean, I guess, yeah, if they're selling the same exact thing, there's changing the color and calling it their own, yeah. 3D printing is one of those weird kind of areas, I think, in the realm of like IP, simply because a lot of 3D prints out there that you can do are just like public domain. So I have a friend who's actually really into 3D printing, and he makes 3D models all the time for people, and it's a big thing where like they specifically will make them with the purpose of like releasing them to everyone, so that they can't be patented, they can't be like copyrighted or have any type of IP against them. And it's like a big thing with the community now. As you're kind of talking about, yeah, that a lot of people are going to probably then take that idea and they're going to sell it online or something, create their own variation of it in some capacity. Seems problematic, probably is in some capacity. Is it any worse than all of the other garbage that you also can probably find on Amazon that isn't 3D printed and it's just a copy paste of, some white labeled product or anything like that? No. I mean, white labeling has been around for, I don't know, freaking ever, basically, right? And so it's one of those that's just part of e-com at this point. Don't follow it. Just differentiate yourself. Find your differentiating feature. Phil, try out category targeting and manual product targeting. I would agree with that actually. If running low on inventory projected to January 1st, should you raise prices to slow sales velocity? 5+ years ago, that was tactic, but I've heard that Amazon frowns on and or punishes sellers now. Yes and no. So I mean, obviously Amazon doesn't want you to like raise your price and everything, and it's not that Amazon's actually punishing you, it's just the market punishes you. So if you raise your price, yeah, you're going to end up having essentially worse time. Now, the thing that you're probably going to have a harder time with, and where Amazon technically punishes you, is that your sell-through rate is going to drop, Eric. And your sell-through rate dropping means that essentially you can't send in as much inventory on a listing. Now, it takes a little bit longer time period and frame for the sell-through rate, because sell-through rate is based off a 6-month period for most products. So you should be fine in most capacities to raise your price if you're worried about inventory. So it's worse for you to run out of stock than it is to slow your inventory sale on any type of product. Skunk prints. One of the other problems I see is without CPC, all the 3D print sellers are working around it. I manufacture my own models and designs, but it's not financially feasible to get the CPC for each design. Okay, so yeah, I can see that then. If I was under the impression here, Skunk, that essentially you had one product. But if you're doing this where you have tons and tons of designs, yeah, CPC can be difficult just because you're essentially, having to do all of that. This is driving many people to bypass those blocks. Etsy recently released a note about banning people not selling their own models because it is flooded with trash can raccoons with different colors. Yeah. That's also one of those things where like Etsy, for instance, is pretty specific when it comes to selling your own products, because Etsy has had tons of problems with people just like mass manufacturing product when the platform is supposed to be about like handmade stuff and like stuff you made, right? And so they tend to crack down on that pretty quick. That's not going to be the case when it comes to Amazon though, like ever. Let's see here. I got bounce here in about 2 minutes, guys. I actually am going to go to another podcast, the Amazon Seller News podcast with Todd Welch. We'll be live streaming that here on the My Amazon Guy channel, so you guys can stick around to go to that one and get some news about the Amazon world. What define Amazon private label success, product launch, unsuccessful launch? Is your product selling? Are you making sales? Is your product growing? There you go. That's success. Let's see. Phil. Gotcha. Interesting. We'll try it out. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely, Phil. And we have some documentation as well on this on our website. The one thing to caveat on this, Phil, is that Amazon did make a change. I made a couple of videos on this back in May, where essentially for alt text in A+ content and brand story, they essentially released this new thing where They consider certain images on Amazon or on A+ content and such to be complementary images. And essentially, so if you have crawlable text already visible for an image of any kind, it can be a product image, it can be anything in general, then yeah, alt text won't even show up. It'll show as empty alt text because they don't want to have alt text and then just readable text as well within there. And so they consider those complementary. That might be where you're probably getting that information as well from it. So, all right, guys. I know we have a couple more questions, it looks like, in here. I got to bounce, though. I got to go over to this other podcast. That being said, for those that are uninitiated, we are My Amazon Guy. My name is Noah Wickham. I'm VP of Sales and Marketing here at My Amazon Guy. I do all of our content, do all this stuff. We're a full-service Amazon agency. If you have any problem whatsoever on Amazon, revenue growth, profitability, ad spend, anything you can imagine, head on over to our website. We have tons of services. You can book a call with one of my team members, and we'll just do a full in-depth look at your account, see how we can actually help you scale and grow on the platform as well. We do this every single Friday. Come back next week, 12 p.m. Eastern, and I will be here yet again answering even more questions. So looking forward to that. And like I said, head on over to our next show that I'm going to be doing, the Amazon Weekly News Show with Todd Welch, where you can get some in-depth Amazon news and my thoughts on what's going on in the current environment that is Amazon. So looking forward to that, and hope everyone has a great weekend and great weekend. See you, everybody.